Hey there, and welcome to the Fiihr Factor, the podcast that shines a light on real stories, smart strategies, and the occasional hard truth about running a business. Think of this as your quick dose of clarity before your first cup of coffee. Let's go. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with Zach Smith. Jeez, am I going through puberty or what? Zach Smith, and he's got a company. It's called Houston AI Help. How you doing, Zach?
I'm doing great. Thankfully, I think puberty is in both of our pasts, so we're good to go.
Well, my wife would say that I really never graduated, so there's that. But that's a whole nother subject.
I'll leave that to her.
Well, hey, thank you for taking the time. I think this is going to be great today because you have expertise in a field that everybody is talking about, and half the people say they're experts that aren't experts in this field as well. So tell me first of all, Zach, let's just get a little bit how'd you get into this business?
Yeah, I'll try to prove that I'm the real deal. So my background started in public accounting way back, which I realized quickly I was a little too insubordinate to survive in, and pivoted pretty quickly to tech, where I spent 7 years at Uber in its early days doing strategy and operations and product work, which was an incredible experience. And left there during the pandemic, moved to Houston, where I had grown up, and kind of pivoted into entrepreneurship. And so bought a 30-year-old small business in the dental space that kind of let me get my feet wet in terms of owning and managing my own business, figuring out how to make the whole suite of things work. And that sort of coincided with the initial explosion of these AI large language model tools that have in some ways taken over the tech and business world over the last, depending on 3 years, 6 months, depends on what you want to look at. But I started finding that more and more the things that I was doing in my business were being influenced, impacted by what I could do with AI, which meant having fewer employees and having an easier to build and manage website and all these things. And so here at the beginning of 2026, I have started up this other project called Houston AI Help to help bring those types of tools and opportunities into more small and medium-sized businesses here in the Houston area, and am excited to be doing that.
So that's really cool. So, but I got to ask you, you move back here and decide you're going to start your own business. How did that happen?
I think I've always had a bit of an entrepreneurial streak. Even the decision to leave Ernst & Young, where I started my career, and go join what at the time was a couple hundred people at Uber that had just done a Series B was, I think, there were people at EY who were like, what do you mean you're leaving this to go do some tech startup thing? I think even most of them would look back on that and say Uber was probably a pretty good rocket ship to hop on at the time. But I'm not saying that the business that I've been doing since then is quite the same rocket ship, but I've also been building my life kind of around a different set of priorities, which is more about, I've got young kids now, and I've got hobbies, and I've got family, and I want to be able to build a business that is engaging and exciting and interesting and profitable for me, while also giving myself the time to manage a little league team and play golf with my dad a couple times a month. And so that's kind of what I've been going for. And entrepreneurship is a great way to enable those things if you have the risk tolerance to handle the ups and downs that come with owning your own business.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny. I was listening to a podcast yesterday with the guy that took over Uber, and he was when in the very infancy, pretty in the infancy. And he was talking about how he expects a lot out of his people. Like, you're there, you're going to grind hard. You better be ready to work hard and do the things. And so I could see the lifestyle. So then you come here, and why did you end up in this? How did you end up picking this particular business type?
So I think it marries a lot of the things that I have done in my career, which is both the entrepreneurship piece of having owned my own business before, and still owning that dental discount plan business, and also what's currently happening in tech. And where I was sitting, I still have a foot in a lot of my professional network is in tech, and have gone and started their own venture-backed startups and done that whole thing. So a lot of my newsfeed and social interactions and things are about what's happening in tech, and AI is the thing happening in tech. And at the same time, I've been involved in like the entrepreneurship through acquisition community in the Houston area, people who are going and buying small businesses from retiring owners, similar to what I did, and just the general small to mid-sized business type folks. And I think there's a disconnect right now between what is happening in tech in terms of everyone is almost entirely focused on AI. And I think there are a lot of small to mid-sized businesses who know it's happening. They're hearing these terms. They maybe are using ChatGPT a little bit in their day-to-day, but it's not integrated deeply into their business yet. And they may be wondering, how do I do that? Or am I missing something? Or maybe I tried it a couple times and it wasn't doing anything for me, so I'm going to leave that alone for now. But I keep seeing things in the news about this and I want to engage with it. And so I think that's where I can bridge those things a little bit and help people who have less of that tech background, who maybe have been running a local service business or who are in the Houston energy world, making deals and drilling wells and doing those kinds of things. I'm not saying AI is going to drill a well for you next month, but it very well may help you manage your operation or have a CRM that helps you do deal flow in a way that would be different than what you could have done a year ago. And I think that's a really exciting opportunity and one that I'm enjoying talking to folks about right now.
Yeah, super fun. I was just at a networking thing today, and we got into this big conversation about AI, and different people definitely have different levels of adoption. I think everybody knows they should do something with it to stay competitive, and they're just like, where do I start? And I know, like I know you can do a couple hours. You come in and do a couple hours for free. And what I like about what I looked at your website is, hey, let's come in and solve. Let's fix it. Let's fix something. Let's automate something or fix something or do something to save you time. And that's a good place to start, would you say, for anybody?
I think it is. I think picking one of the things that I think is really cool in what's happening right now with the AI tools is there is an opportunity right now to build a piece of software that's custom to your business. It may not even have the AI may be more used to build the software than it is to actually operate within the software once you have it going. But what that means is I've been building little tools. I built a tool to draft my Little League team. It was for a one-night project, right? But I only spent 45 minutes building this little tool. I'd had my spreadsheet with all my rankings, and I was thinking, I bet I can use this to easily compare players and track who's been picked in the draft and know who my best available is. I mean, completely silly and overkill for what you're doing in a Little League draft. And yet, because these tools exist, it was 30 minutes of work that was fun for me to build this essentially disposable piece of software that made my life easier when I went and drafted that team that night. I would hope that in most cases, when we're talking about people's businesses, we can build something with a little bit more of a long-term impact. But at the same time, the level of effort it takes right now to build something is so much lower than it was even 6 or 12 months ago that we can take a relatively small problem or a small repetitive process in your business and use it as a really good first way to get our feet wet in terms of how can these tools make an impact. And so that slightly disposable, lower commitment way of getting into it is, I think, a really exciting thing about what's happening right now and what's possible right now. And I would absolutely encourage business owners to take advantage of that opportunity.
Yeah, I think that's a good paradigm shift that I hadn't thought about, which is you might not even use AI to actually run the thing, but you could use it to build an interface or a system or automation or something. Also, have you thought about building out wagering on Little League teams?
Let's not let the board of my local Little League know that conversation has even happened. I don't think I need to cross that line right now.
Okay. What else should somebody have in their business to really, so here's the thing. Action Coach, we think a lot about systems and processes because if you're going to have a business that's going to be scalable and saleable, you got to have systems and processes documented and in place and actioning. And that's what's going to give you leverage to be able to save time and scale up faster. Is it the same thing you're thinking about with AI, or what else should somebody do to get ready?
It's a super fair question and a good point. I think it is still super important with AI tools to do those things. And in fact, I think there's a great opportunity, frankly, to use, I don't know about you, but in my business, there have been plenty of times where I have started a new process and I've just kind of muddled through it for a few weeks to figure it out. And then it becomes this thing that I do that I never documented, right? That I just, I check this report and I pull that information over here, and that generates 3 or 4 action items that I then deal with. But if I ever had an employee who was going to take that on for me because I figured it out and I know how it works and I can offload it, or maybe an AI system as we're moving in that direction. That system, that process never maybe did get documented. And what I think is actually really cool right now is even just using the browser-based, ChatGPT or Claude models. One of the things I love doing right now is using a text-to-speech tool and just having a conversation directly with the AI. You can record yourself going through the process and talking through the steps you're doing, and then the tool will build you the outline, the process, the standard operating procedure that you want someone else to follow. And you don't have to spend 45 minutes figuring out the specific, line items of everything. You can just have a 10-minute conversation with your computer, and on the other side of it, have the 3-page document that outlines the process that you go through that you can pass off to someone else. Or maybe that 3-page document becomes the basis of a new project that you use to create an automation that does that for you. And so the fact that you can actually document what you're doing faster and easier with these tools is, in my opinion, another opportunity here. And I don't say all of that to say like AI is going to replace everything in your business today, this week, this month. I think it's easy to overstate the immediate impact it can have. It takes some practice, frankly, to get to where you can use these tools in your business effectively and confidently and not be worried about, did it miss something or is it reminding of these things? And so when you start small and you build up into more and more pieces of your business, I think you learn and get more comfortable and get more confident that it's having the impact you want it to have in your business. And so that's another reason, going back to our previous spot, to start a little bit small.
Yeah. Everybody wants to boil the ocean right away. It's like, no, let's pick one thing.
Yeah.
It's funny. I was just off on a coaching call with my last client, and we were talking about hiring a salesperson, and I'm like, what do you have for scripting? And he's like, I don't really have scripting. And then I asked him like 3 questions, and he told me a bunch of his scripting that he always does. I'm like, okay.
He has it.
He's like, right? He has it. Everybody has a script. And he's like, he said one of the most powerful things is not having a script, but you have a script. And the thing is, if we're going to hire somebody, you've experimented with what works, what lands with people, what doesn't land. So then let's get that documented. So now you have a sales process. And then part of the sales process is, hey, look, we got to make sure we get a follow-up call. That's an appointment that's on the books and on the calendar. That becomes part of your process.
100%. I think too, to the point of your last coaching call, I kind of am also the type of person that bristles at the idea of, I have a script that I follow, or that someone who's working for me has to say these words in this order every single time. I mean, like I gave a wedding toast last month, and I didn't write the whole thing word for word and memorize it and recite it. That doesn't feel natural for me. But I did outline it. I did practice it. I did create that outline and then go give it sort of a little bit off the cuff and a little bit with my own style and emotion in the moment. And I think what I actually like about when you start using some of these AI tools to build your processes, maybe you put your script, your outline, your talking points into a project in your AI tool, that then when you're on a call, you can say, okay, I'm talking to Warren at Action Coach today about his business, and here's his website, and here's what he does. Use the script that you already have in your project knowledge to help me customize this outline a little bit for today's conversation, for what I'm doing today. And even then, you may not go word for word for it, but you can use that system to help bring a little bit of that you-ness to something that doesn't feel like I'm just reading a script.
Yeah, because you want to have your style, you want to have your sort of voice that you use, but AI can learn that. I also think about so much of sales, or even success in business, in my opinion, is asking really, really good questions. And if AI could help you ask the right questions based on all the research that now you could just dump in there, or you can have AI do the research. You can ask better questions than you would if you had to go pay somebody to research it or whatever. And that could get you further down the path, correct?
Absolutely, it can. And I think it's also where there's a version where you pop up ChatGPT and you say, hey, I'm meeting with a business coach today. I want to ask him some good questions, and it'll give you something serviceable, right? But if you put that question into a project where you've already described your business and what you do, so that the system knows what you do and what your angle likely is as you go into a conversation, and you say, and the person I'm meeting with is Warren, and here's his LinkedIn profile, and here's his website, and here's how he talks about what he's doing, I guarantee you with 99.9% certainty that the outline of questions and topics that you're going to get back from having context about you and your business and of the person you're talking with is going to be way better than anything you'd get in a generic, hey, I'm talking to this guy prompt, and will be you could go do all of that work yourself, but I think it'll go do that in that upfront effort to have put your own information in there and then pull just a couple of data points about who you're talking to in 5 minutes of work each time you go to have this conversation. You have something that previously would have taken you or someone on your team 20 or 30 minutes to pull together. And that amount of time saved either compounds into being able to have more conversation or leaves you more time to go coach a little league team. And whichever of those things is more important to you, you can do. And that's great.
It's beautiful. And the other thing, of course, is you could probably have a better a better conversation with a more desirable outcome for both parties and save time on the actual conversation as well as the lead up to the conversation. So how beautiful is that?
Absolutely.
So I would love to hear you're in this entrepreneurship now track. What did you learn from Uber that you use today?
Man, so many things. So I joined Uber when we were building small local teams operating in each market. So I was one of the first operations and logistics managers of the Washington, D.C. market where I worked at the time. And what was really special about Uber at the time, I think, part of what helped it be so successful, among a lot of other things, was we had these on the ground teams that were interacting with local riders and drivers on a daily basis with the resources of a SF venture-backed tech company with product managers and designers and engineers who were dedicated to building the tools to make us effective in the local markets. And so there was a really good interaction between what we were doing on the ground and what was being built in tech. And a lot of times my job, when I was hired, the woman who hired me said, no one's ever really done this job before. There has not been, you're not a taxi dispatcher. I remember telling my grandmother I was taking a job at Uber, and she said, so you're going to be a taxi dispatcher? And I said, no, not exactly, but I also don't yet know how to describe it differently than that. And I think she got it eventually, right? 2013
Sure.
was a different world than 2015 in terms of people's
Yes.
awareness of this. But I saw my job as solve a problem that's not been solved before. No one was ever before trying to onboard 100 new drivers a day, like we were starting to try to do pretty quickly once UberX launched. And so we had to come up with a pretty manual solution to that problem and then sort of duct tape and hold it together long enough for a technical team, an engineering and product team to productize that and build an automated version of it that required a lot less of the human time on the ground to handle it. And so we went from having a driver onboarding with 20 people in a conference room to renting out an entire hotel ballroom for a day to do 150 people to the product team a couple months later building us a solution that allowed us to do all of the document submissions in the app and to run a background check digitally and to take pictures of a car to make sure it looked good. And suddenly we could process all of these things from the office and we could do 300 of them a day. And so
Yeah.
what I think is so cool about this moment right now is, sure, someone could have built me a Little League draft app a year ago, but it would have taken, I don't know, a couple weeks and a couple $1,000s from some developer to go do this, which is what Uber was doing just with venture capital money 15 years ago, 12 years ago, whatever it was. Now, with these tools, I get to do that whole process, but I kind of do the whole thing with the help of Claude Code or ChatGPT Codex or whatever tool I'm using, right? I come up with the idea, I figure out what that manual process would look like, and then I just create a spec and say, hey, product team, which is here on my computer right now or in the cloud or wherever, build this thing
Yeah.
for me. And it's 80% of the way there, sometimes an hour later, just from a bit of a back and forth there in a way that took an entire resource team before. So you still have to be able to solve a problem in terms of like what is the thing that you want? What's the solution that you're looking for? And then describe it to the tool or the person who's going to build it, and then see where that gets you and figure out what the next problem you want to solve is. I did at Uber, I never did the same job for more than 6 months because we were solving a problem, having it productized, moving on to the next, hopefully better problem than the one we had before. I think you can do that whole process now on your own as an entrepreneur with these tools. And that's kind of what I'm trying to do on a daily basis, both in my own business and for my clients.
Yeah. Identifying what the real need is is such a big piece of that, right? I mean, it's like the person that walks into the Home Depot and says, I need a drill. Well, do you? I don't know what you're trying to accomplish. There's a lot of ways to get a hole in a piece of wood, right? And it might not be the drill. It might be a Sawzall. It could be a variety of tools. So
I'm going to take your word for that, because if I went into Home Depot and said I needed a drill or to put a hole in something, I wouldn't know what I was talking about. I'm not saying I've never tried to do it. I did change a shower cartridge earlier in the year. I was pretty proud of that. But yeah, like that's not the place. I do not have good taste or judgment when it comes to a home improvement project. I've got much better taste and judgment when it comes to a business and software problem. And I think until the AI gets so superhuman smart that it is able to truly exercise its own taste and judgment, no matter what the roles look like or what a business looks like, the ability to figure out what should be done and what it should look like, what a good solution to that problem is going to be, is still going to be massively important for humans running businesses, no matter how much automated, agentic, AI, whatever, however many buzzwords we can cram into this sentence, help they can have and can look like.
yeah, okay. Tell me then, how do you discern as a business owner, how do you discern somebody that has game and AI and is charging you the right fee to build the things versus somebody that's just used to be a digital marketer? Now they're an AI expert. I'm using quotes right now
Right.
in quotes. How do you
Yes. Well,
tell the difference?
it's a good question. I don't know that I have a great answer to that question yet. I think that what I think is so cool about what can happen right now, what I am trying to approach things as, is there there has been a time for 15 years, say, since SaaS has sort of taken over the world, software as a service, all these tools that we use in our business, where your job was to go find the best tool at the right price point for your business and then adapt your workflow to use that tool as effectively as possible. That could be a CRM, a sales platform, an accounting platform, whatever it is that you need to run your business. What's the best tool that I can afford? And then I'll work with it. And I think what is possible right now is that you can decide what you want your workflow to be and then build the tools to do your workflow the way you think it should be done. You don't have to adapt yourself to the tool can adapt to you. And I suspect, from what I see in terms of people publishing content on the internet that is clearly just a single prompt and then copy and paste the post into LinkedIn, or
Hmm.
the websites that still all look exactly the same, that there are a lot of people trying to take the fastest, least effort approach to using these tools, such that you get what people complain about with AI slop, this thing that looks like everyone else's solution to the problem. And to me, that is, I see that some from what I'm seeing in the market, certainly from what I'm seeing people post on, LinkedIn or whatever other social media platforms. And I think while that is probably the fastest way to make a buck, I think it's not taking advantage of what I think is truly valuable to a business right now, which is the ability to actually customize something in a way that's never at a speed and a cost that has never really been possible for a small to mid-sized business before. And so if it feels like you're going to be forced into another cookie cutter version of a solution, maybe it'll work. Maybe it'll be like a really good SaaS platform was for your business before. It could. But I think the real opportunity is to, and what gets me excited, what I am excited to do for my clients, is to really understand their business and help them figure out a solution that has a little bit, is still way more efficient than what you could have gotten before, but is also really customized to what you want your solution to look like for your business. To me, that's the opportunity. So if you feel like you're being treated like just another thing to plug into the AI system and go, to me, that's not where you're going to get the most value. I would be looking for someone who's going to help you to really understand you and your business and build something that is really bespoke to what you need.
Yeah, so so I like that. So it's it's actual custom, and you can't get custom without knowing somebody's business and what they're really trying to accomplish and how they, and really somewhat how they like to work and solve problems for their customers, right? And that's where the gold is. Okay, so four more questions and I'm out of here.
Perfect.
Uh, First, think about when you purchased. You go back to your dental
Yep.
business. when you purchased this business, you had to set expectations. And most people, when they buy businesses, are like, I'm going to make a lot of money. I'm going to have a lot of fun. I'm going to have a lot of freedom and have a lot of time. And then they get into business and it doesn't always go that way.
That's
You're
right.
laughing. Yeah, it's like, that's good. Business ownership is awesome
Yeah.
until you own a business. It's sort of like a boat. Okay. So then what's one thing that you would have done differently after you bought your business? One decision you would have made that we can all learn from.
Yeah. So I think uh, my biggest learning, I was so excited to go buy a business and to become a business owner. I didn't want to be there are people who go into this sort of entrepreneurship through acquisition, business buying things, who I think like being a business buyer more than they like being a business operator, and they spend a lot of time in that space and maybe or maybe don't ever actually buy something. I wanted to actually get into business and operate. And so I I think that led to me being a little bit overly excited to get in and operate and to sort of paper over a few things in the diligence process that I probably should have been a little bit more aware of. The one that is so the American Dental Care, the business that I bought, it's a dental savings plan, dental discount plan, where we have members, patients who pay us for a membership, and then we have a network of dentists that
Huh.
will accept the plan and provide our members with a 30 to 70% discounted rate as a cash paying customer that we've pre-negotiated. We have a fee schedule. And our revenue comes from the members who pay us a monthly or annual membership fee. And so I did a lot of diligence around that. I did less diligence around the supply side, the provider side of the business.
Mm,
And
yeah.
what I have learned since being in the business is dental practices get sold. And the last thing on their to-do list when that happens is to actually call up the handful of discount plans that they partner with and say, like, hey, we have a new owner, or we don't want to take this plan anymore, or we're closing our doors because the owner's retiring and he didn't sell the business. And
Ugh.
so I did not do a good job taking a sample of the providers in the network that existed at the time that I bought the business and diligencing them and making sure that they all existed and operated and knew that our plan existed and were going to excitedly take patients, which is something that I learned on my first day of the business when one of the key employees came into my office and said, "We only have like half of the dentists that it says that we have." That was a tough moment, a little bit of a like, oh crap, what did I missed that one. It was not the end of the world because there were hundreds of dentists who took the plan.
Sure.
But the thing that I was worried about was part of my thesis was we're going to take this business and do a lot more of a digital marketing and sales approach. What has been historically a 30-year-old business that was built from newspaper ads and TV ads and phone
Mm,
sales, we need to modernize into a more digital first method. Well, to do that, someone who comes onto your website to look for a dentist needs to actually be able to search and find the dentists that are really their dentists. And so that was not the case at the time that I bought the business because I had failed to find it in the process of buying the business. And so the first 6 to 9 months became a massive cleanup exercise of like, okay, who actually is excited to take my plan, and let's make sure we highlight those and focus on those, and that people who come to buy this plan for me aren't being confused about
mm.
who they can actually go see. So it slowed me down, and from my initial excitement of here we go, let's go build a great digital marketing plan and sell a bunch of these plans. Okay, wait a minute. I don't feel good selling this plan to someone on my website because I don't know that the dentist that they're going to find is definitely going to take the plan. And so we got to
Sure.
clean that up first. So, there's a first principles thing of like, we're going to do this the right way and clean it up and solve it. And that was still certainly there, but it definitely slowed down the hit the ground running plan that I had for things as we were getting started.
That's awesome. And I have no doubt that you made sure you did it right. And then when you built it out and had good suppliers, then you went to suppliers, meaning dentists, then you went to marketing mode. But I think it's like the people that are either hiring their first employee, or in this case, you're acquiring a business. You're so excited and you're so optimistic, and you sort of see these things, or maybe you see them, but like, it's fine. I'll get through it. And then all of a sudden you're in the thing and it's like, holy crap, I was way too optimistic on that one.
It's like buying a house, right? Where it's,
Yes.
you have to kind of fall in love with it and be willing to overlook a couple things to get excited enough to put the offer on and to go through with it. And then sometimes you get to the other side of, that's going to be an expensive thing to fix. I kind of ignored that at the time. I don't regret anything about, it has been operating the business has been the type of experience I was looking for. And in the range of outcomes for that business. I mean, it's only been a few years. It could still do great things, but it's been more of a mid-range outcome, and that's fine. That's not the end of the world. I've learned a lot. If I was to go buy another business, I would have a bit of a different, I think, approach and experience. And that's, I guess that's like kind of the point, right? Of
Yes.
a career, of doing different things and learning things, is you get to go see what works. You get to learn. Going and doing something is the best way to learn it, in my opinion. And so you have to take swings that are appropriately sized for what you're trying to do, so that if you don't hit a home run, you're not, washed to sea, but out to sea by it. But it's been a great experience, and I think that business still has a lot of potential. I just think it's near term growth. I'm too excited about what's happening in this AI space and what could happen there to not sort of pivot a little bit and focus on this other thing right now. And they well, the AI business serves the dental business effectively because I get to be my own client on that. I'm not sure the dental business
Yes.
serves the AI business quite as much, but that's okay. There's enough synergy there that things are working right now, and that's good too.
Well, and you've also, you get the respect and you have the knowledge of being a business owner, and that comes. You can read all the books you want, but getting in there and doing it is just a different. You just got to do it. So I think that knowledge is invaluable when you talk to other businesses. Okay, last three
Absolutely.
questions. Very serious. If you were an animal, what kind of animal would you be?
My favorite answer to this question is a zebra, largely because I spent 7 years officiating NCAA college football, and so I have worn the stripes. I have been hunted by mean coaches up and down sidelines who want to yell at you. I was that was a super fun chapter going to do that. So zebra is my answer.
That's awesome. And I mean, I know, when you hear all the boos from the stands, that those fans really know what they're talking about always.
Always, yes,
Like,
yes.
yeah,
I know.
it's
My
not
my
just because
favorite
they love the
moments were
boo.
when you know that you nailed a call, you got a rule exactly right, and someone's yelling at you. Well, that's not that. Okay, good. I've spent years studying and practicing this. I know the rule. It's fine.
Yeah, and I was standing right here, and
Yeah.
you saw it from 100 yards away, and you're watching it on a screen. So like that's cute and all, but that's good. I like that zebra. Okay, that's good. What do you want to be when you grow up?
So my hobby is playing golf. I play competitive amateur golf now. I gave up the football officiating. Golf allows me to control my own schedule. So the dream of any middle-aged competitive amateur golfer is to qualify for the US Mid-Am, win the US Mid-Am, and the winner of the US Mid-Am gets an invite to the Masters. So there's this like very, very, very narrow window that you could see me in the Masters someday. It's not going to happen. I don't actually. My kids think it's possible, and that counts for something.
I love it. Yeah, golf's such a great game, though. I love the the parallel between golf and business. I'm actually writing a book. It's going to be called Trust Your Caddy.
Oh, I
So
love
it's
it.
about, yeah, it's intersection of golf and life and business. And hey, look, you're going to spend all this money. I wrote it when I didn't write it. I came up with the idea when I was at a bar in Pebble Beach after we played around a golf with some clients, and I'm like, these people pay all this money for this caddy, and then they don't
They don't
listen to
listen.
what he says. Like, it's the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. And I literally had this conversation with a client of mine, and he's like, "Wait, you're paying a business coach. In this case, he's paying a couple business coaches. Maybe you should listen to what they say.
There
Otherwise,
you go.
don't pay him. Don't have a coach, right? Like,
One of the fun things about playing competitive amateur golf is you often get to bring a caddy, and my dad has gotten to caddy for me, like in the Texas State Mid Am and stuff like that, and getting
awesome.
to do that with him. I try to listen to him. He's a pretty good caddy to have.
That's beautiful. Well, that's somebody that keeps you calm, gets you focused on what's important, keeps you, distractions away. So, take
Hydrated, fed,
Oh,
all the
food. You,
things.
you you gotta have all the things. You gotta breathe,
That's
little
right.
things. Okay, last question. What do you want to be remembered for besides playing in the Masters?
Well, since I probably won't ever be remembered for that, I should definitely not answer that way. I I want to be remembered as someone who wasn't afraid to buck the norms of what life is supposed to look like. My wife and I talk about how I think like living a rich life often means living a life that would be sort of hard for anyone else to understand in some ways. And
Hmm.
so I loved my startup corporate grind phase of life, and I'm really glad that I did that. And also in the season that I'm in right now, I'm okay that I'm maybe leaving something on the table there to pick up my kids from school most days,
Yes.
and to manage a little league team, and to play in golf tournaments, and still run a business that I'm excited to put a lot of time and effort and energy into, but that I get to decide what that full package of life looks like. And that if I'm not happy with it, that's not really on anyone but me. So yeah, I want to be remembered as someone who lived life on his own terms and made sure that the way he was spending his time reflected his values and priorities.
That's awesome. I love that so much. Thank you. That's a great way to end it. So Zach Smith, Houston AI Help. You're on the web, HoustonAIHelp.com. Thank you so much, Zach. I learned a lot, and best of luck in all your future endeavors, including going low and making it to the Masters.
My pleasure. Thanks, Warren. It's been great.
All right, cheers. AI, friend, enemy, frenemy. Either way, we got to figure out how to harness this thing. And I thought the insights today of using it to write the thing, to automate the thing, was pretty darn good. And also, if you're going to hire somebody, they should be building something custom for you. Our workflow should be our workflow. Let's get the tools to make it the best we can. Zach, great guy, hard worker, no BS. Let's get the work done.
Liked what you heard? Let's make it real. Schedule your free coaching session today at sugarland.actioncoach.com.